You are overqualified. 3 words that really irritate job seekers. And the thing is that sometimes you get that message, but other times you don't even get anything. And that's what your perception is of why you're being rejected. And it's funny because it's really a backhanded compliment. They're trying to say, yeah, you could do the job, but actually what they're saying is, we're just not comfortable hiring you. And this is a problem for a lot of job seekers who are actually looking to take a step back. Maybe their situation has changed. They've got elderly parents and they need to have some more time to take care of them. Or just their interests have changed. Maybe they always thought they wanted to be a people manager, but now realize they want to be an individual contributor. So they want these jobs that are a step back, but they're not being given the chance. So today what we're going to talk about is why this is happening. So there is a reason, and a lot of it has to do with risk assessment by the hiring team. So we're going to talk about why they are thinking you are riskier than you think you are. And then we're going to talk about how on a resume you can de-risk yourself so you can at least get to an interview and talk about why this job might be a good fit for you. Let's first start by talking about the hiring manager mindset. I think that's really important to understand because they are thinking about things differently than you are. Hiring is a risky business. Like, you just don't know what you're going to get. You try to anticipate things, you try to ask the right questions, but at the end of the day, you don't know how that person will actually perform. So hiring managers, really what they want to do is reduce risk. They want to reduce the risk that the hire is going to be a problem for them. So that is the problem you are facing when you are hearing you're overqualified. It's not that they don't think you can do the job. They're pretty sure you can do the job. It's just that you are a more risky candidate than others. So let's look at what they're determining to be risk. I think that's important because when you understand that, then you can better understand how you can address that. And there are 4 main aspects to what they see as risk for someone who is overqualified. Number 1 is going to be commitment or retention risk. Here's what they're thinking. They're thinking, this person used to do a higher level position, and higher level positions tend to have more challenge, maybe more interesting, that you've outgrown some of the things in this lower level position, maybe a lot of the activities, and therefore they think you will be bored. Bored people tend to not be as engaged, and they do tend to not put in as much effort. So they can see that this is a potential problem for you, a few months in, maybe a few years in. They also are very concerned that this is a bridge job for you. Now, let's be honest, for some of you, that is exactly what this is. You might not be able to find anything at your level, and so you're thinking, I need a job, and therefore I will go down a level because I can do that job. I will try to, get my life in order, maybe wait until the market is better, and then I'll go and try to get back to where I was before. Hiring managers understand that, and they're not necessarily looking for somebody who is going to be a short timer for them. Now, I know that doesn't matter if somebody is perfectly aligned with the role. They can be a short timer too. Absolutely. But when they're looking at who to put in the role, somebody that they think might have more issues, may be looking for something else in the short term, they consider you to be more risk, even if you can do the job well when you start. The second thing that is on their mind and makes you seem risky to them is your compensation requirements. Now, many of you are like, I'll take a pay cut. It doesn't bother me because I need to work and I need to make money. That's okay. And depending on your family budget, that may work well for you in the short and long term. But they are worried that you might take a short-term hit, but long-term that's not going to be feasible for you, and you will quickly look for something that does pay more. The third thing that they're feeling risky about is what you might do to the team dynamics. You've got experience, you've got a lot of knowledge. Therefore, if you were to join the team, a manager might feel that you actually have more experience than they do. And honestly, they may be threatened by that. They may feel like they will not have as much control over what you do because you might be fighting them in terms of thinking there's a better way or a different way to do things, or just not being very helpful to them in terms of what they want to get done. There also can be issues just with the team. Now, if people are at certain levels of knowledge and experience and you come in with significantly more, that can rock the team a little bit. And that hiring manager might be concerned about that and feel that your presence might actually not be the positive, but a negative to the team. If you enjoy this content, I always appreciate hitting that like button, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And if you have any topics you would like me to cover, please put them in the comments. And the fourth thing that may make you more risky is actually ageism. It's a bias, it's illegal, but it still happens. And many job seekers feel like they're not moving forward because of this bias. It's because the hiring manager thinks that because you are older, that you don't fit what they're looking for, solely based on age. They think you're too rigid in your ways, that you don't have modern technology abilities, and just that you're not a fit with the culture. All four of these things are things that you might have to deal with as someone who's applying for positions. So let's think about how you can position yourself to mitigate this risk. So now that you know why they consider you risky, what can you do to reduce your risk for them? Well, a lot of this is going to be on how you position yourself on your resume. So now we're going to talk about things that you should be doing on your resume that can help you bridge that, so that their immediate thought is, oh, this person is going to be a potential problem. So let's talk about what you can do about ageism. And this is something that many, especially mid-career, older job seekers, really don't have a good handle on. And they don't even think that what they're doing could be potentially harming them. So here are some things that you should think about as you're putting together your resume. The first is, how many jobs should I have on my resume? Your resume is not a biography. It's not. It just needs to be a marketing document that positions you for the jobs you want. That's a little different mindset. You do not have to put everything that you've ever done on a resume. Don't have to. There's no law that says you have to. You need to strategically think about what makes sense for the jobs you are interested in. So if it is a job that requires less years of experience, then it may make sense for you to not put all your experience on there, because that will make you look older, and that could be a problem. Now, how much experience, well, that kind of depends, and it's a strategic decision. But, a guideline that many coaches say is somewhere between 10 and 15 years, because that's going to be most relevant to the roles that you're looking for. Now, if you feel like you need to put the other work history, things that came before, maybe because it's related to the role, you can put a, prior work experience section and just put titles and the company without even dates, if that makes sense for your situation. But you do not have to put everything on your resume. In fact, in most cases, that makes no sense. Another thing you want to do is remove the years of experience that we often find in a professional summary statement. You don't want to put that foremost as something that they can think about. So you can have a professional summary without years of experience. You can just talk about what you've accomplished. It doesn't need to be in there. So I would consider taking that out. Another thing you can do, which all coaches would recommend, is take out the dates of when you graduated from school. People can count backwards and figure out how old you are. And especially if you're mid-career older, that's not going to be relevant. If they really need it, they'll ask for it. And then make sure that you do not have old technologies on that resume. That just dates you. You want to have any technologies that you put on that resume that they are relevant now. That's what they're going to care about. So even getting certifications in tech that is relevant to the roles that you're looking for and making that note on your resume can help you from looking like you're a risk because you are a technophobe or aren't up to date. So those are more of the mechanics of a resume. But now I want to talk about content because content is key to being able to make that hiring manager feel like you actually could do the job and that you want to do the job and are interested in it. So what I'm going to show you is an example of somebody who has had a background as an HR director. But they've decided that they want to take a step back and be an HR manager. So what I'm going to show you is a different way of writing your professional summary statement if you're looking to be an HR director versus you're looking to be an HR manager. How you're talking about your work, what you put in there is going to be important so that the hiring team says, yes, actually, we do want to talk to this person because they could be a good fit. So let's look at the professional summary statement of somebody looking for HR director positions. Now, these statements really should focus on strategy and organization-wide directives, as well as their ability to work with senior leaders. So let's take a look. So here's the example where it's written strategic HR director serving as a trusted partner to leaders and employees in complex manufacturing and operational environments. Build strong credibility-based relationships that have led to a 40% reduction in employee relations escalations, improved labor management collaboration, and sustained contract stability across union and non-union sites. Recognized for maximizing talent and performance by aligning people strategy with operational priorities through both strategic leadership and on-the-ground execution. If this person has been an HR director, then that's a perfectly fine summary to use if you're pursuing HR director roles. But if you're looking to take a step back, then you need to rethink how you are branding yourself, how you're positioning yourself. You don't want to focus on that strategic. You don't want to focus on the organization-wide, and you certainly don't want to focus on all of your collaboration with senior leaders. That's not what you do in an HR manager role. So instead, you're going to focus on execution and day-to-day activities. So let's look at how to rewrite this professional summary for that. Hands-on HR manager with experience supporting manufacturing and high-volume operational environments through strong, trust-based relationships with leaders and employees. Brings a pulse-to-the-floor approach to HR, maintaining a visible, accessible HR presence that helps drive a 40% reduction in employee relations escalations, improve leader confidence in handling issues, and increase engagement across the workforce. Same person, but they are changing the focus so that they are more aligned with that HR manager role, so they are not initially looked on as overqualified. And now let's move to the experience section. Here, it is important about the language that you use to describe what you're doing, as well as what examples that you are going to put in your bullet points. You're going to pick and choose what is more important for the roles that you're looking for. So when it comes to the HR director, they're going to have things in their bullet points that really are more about the strategy, about, dealing with change for the organization, and maybe the stakeholder management. So in this example, we're going to take a look at the bullet points for the HR director. And you can see that these bullet points have to do with the enterprise. We've got cultural shift in HR service delivery. We've got enterprise-wide digital transformation as the second bullet point, and championed a collaborative people and finance ecosystem. Those are all things that an HR director would do. But when we go to the manager bullet points, you will see that it is all about execution. Led the HR execution for a 24/7 site expansion, or streamlined HR operations for a new HRIS system that was migrated, or they talk about the supervision, but also worked with payroll to ensure data integrity and 100% administrative accuracy. They're focusing there on where they're closer to the frontline managers, where they're closer to the employees, where they're getting stuff done. Very important. And there may be some strategy, but the focus is on what they are doing on a day-to-day basis. That helps mitigate the risk of being overqualified for a job where you're not necessarily going to do many of the things that an HR director would do. Now let's move to a skills section. Again, you need to think about what skills are going to be important for which roles. So if you're targeting HR director roles, you want those skills to be at that level, the things that are going to be important in that role. And for the HR manager, what you want to do is, again, think about what skills you have that are going to be important for that role. So I'm going to show you what I mean. First, let's look at that HR director skill set. So the HR director, there is 9 here, but you can see a theme here. This is enterprise-wide skills: workforce strategy, governance, organizational design, executive partnership. These are things that would be important for an HR director. Now, as we move to the HR manager, you're going to see that those skills, those competencies, are more on the execution side. So we've got coaching, we've got HR policy interpretation, we've got talent development, we've got engagement and retention, more about the programs that they are executing than about the overall strategy. Being able to overcome the overqualified label means that you have to be smart about how you're positioning yourself. You have to think, what does the position that is a step back really need? What are they going to be most concerned with? And what would I put in that potentially could be ringing bells that there could be a problem? You want to be strategic about what you put in the resume. It can make all the difference between moving forward in the process or being told that you are overqualified. This is part 1 of a 2-part series on being overqualified. Today we focused on your resume. Part 2 will focus on the interview.